So we have had the MahaShivratri function and everything went well. And for this is not a new year. For every spiritual aspirant, it is the beginning of a new life. So for every aspirant, every practitioner and every seeker on the spiritual path, the next day after MahaShivratri is not the beginning of a new year or something, it's the beginning of a new life. The entire life changes for the better and for spiritual progress. And as they tread the path towards the goal of self-realization, they must be a constant in their practice, not distracted by any other path or any other means. Once they've chosen the path, they themselves, that is, the yogi, yogini, the seeker of truth, whoever they may be, have chosen their path. They must stick to that path with constancy and gradually increase their determined effort to reach the goal in this life. The main quality which is required by a yogi practitioner or a seeker following the path is a determined effort to remain on that path and constantly practice the science of kriya yoga. If you practice without desiring anything and you fall in love with your breath and your practice, then you do not get tired. But if you practice with a desire to see God or to develop Siddhis and they don't come after a long time, you tend to give up the race. And that is a dangerous thing. If you fall back in your resolve, then you have to start all over again. If you give a gap. And when does the human mind get tired? The human mind gets tired if it is hankering after money, wealth, name or fame. If the practice of yoga is with an agenda, with a desire, and you don't get that desire, then you are disappointed. If the practice of yoga is for God alone, desireless, then since you desire nothing, you can keep practicing. Not even God. Do not even desire God. Know that He is there. Know that it is your nature to flower into God, into Godhood, into the God essence. So it's the desire that raises your hopes, and when they are not fulfilled, they get dashed to the floor. So disappointed, you leave the practice of yoga, you leave the practice of kriya yoga, you leave the practice of following the path. This is not a good idea, and this is not the spirit in which true spiritual practice is done. The spirit in which it is done is a desireless effort for self-realization. With no desires. I want Siddhis, I want to be as tall as the mountain, I want to be as small as an atom, I should perform all these miracles, to impress other people in humanity. None of these desires should be there. They are great temptations on the path and they deflect you from the true path. And therefore, initially in the first stages, you do have to desire God and keep an image of the Christ or the Krishna or the Buddha, whoever you want, to focus your attention and steadily evolve along the path. It is desireless, without any material desire. Yes.
Intent is a desire, not material desire, but desire.
Yes.
So, the practice is not desireless. It is with the desire, the intent.
Intent is with the desire. Yes. Even a form, to see the form of Lord Krishna or Christ is a desire. So, initially, we concentrate without any material desire. I want more money, I want a beautiful wife, I want fame, I want name. Any desire which is material will be classified as a desire which will bind you to matter. Any desire which is spiritual will take you to your God in form, in a state of sabikalpa samadhi. It is a desire for God. It is not a material desire, but a desire for God does not keep you in bondage and does not give you any material repercussions. Desire for more children, desire for more money, desire for more fame and name, and desire to kill your enemy, desire to be victorious. All these desires are of the matter, material desires. Those are the desires which hold back your spiritual progress. But the desire for God, for self, the God within you, which is called the desire for self-realization, does not hold you back on the spiritual path. So one is a spiritual yearning for God, and the other is material, yearning for material things, name and fame and money. So that's what we call desire strictly. Now when you go, you desire God, you desire Lord Krishna or Jesus, and you see them, and He talks to you and He is with you. So you have achieved self-realization, and you have desired, and you have realized that God is within you, within yourself. It is subjective desire. It is subjective. Desires which retard your spiritual progress are objective desires in the outer world. Money, name, fame. But that which is within your soul, if you desire the spirit, you will become spirit. You will become one with the God within you. You desire material things, you'll become matter. You'll become greedy, famous. Whatever you desire, you become. So if you desire Christ, you shall become Christ. Desire Krishna, you shall become Krishna, which is spiritual and subjective. So therefore is not classified strictly as an outgoing material desire. This is an inward subjective desire for God, and therefore you will be with God. Still a desire, right? But not in the general sense of money, name and fame. Desire for God, you see God in a self-realized state. But then in a higher state, you even have to leave that desire of self-realization and move on. Even the desire to desire is left. Even the desire not to desire is left. Do you see? That's at the finale, the final state. Is there anybody at the back who wants to ask questions can go ahead and ask questions.
Yes, Gurunath.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel that it's you who are doing everything, I mean, right from making me to do my practice or driving or in everything what's going on in my life. So sometimes I feel, what am I doing?
So you have dissolved. It's good the I is doing nothing. God is doing it. So that's good that you're doing nothing, the I. That means your I has dissolved and you've merged the principle into God or the SatGuru. SatGuru is not this person sitting here with a white beard, is the principle of Shiva, the eyeless principle. Okay? So that's very good. Why do I want to do it?
No, because I feel that
It's,
what am I doing? No? So,
but you should not do. Because when the moment the I comes, it's not a proper doing, you create new karma. Say, God, you are doing it. Sadguru, you are doing everything. So you've successfully dissolved your I, your ego. And then you come back rudely to yourself, say, oh, what about my ego? Where's my ego? Where have I left my keys? I've lost my keys. That's a good thing to lose your I.
Gurudhav, what is Vivek and when does it appear in the yogi's practice and how do you apply it?
What is what? Vivek. So the Vivek is an discernment between what is the proper path or the proper action, right action, which must be done in order to give you self-realization, the proper results. Vivek is not only for spirituality, it could be for anything, but just right action and inner intuition and inner introspection, a logical examination, but not with the use of the mind, a logical examination of one's inner condition, which gives him to know intuitionally what is right to do and what is wrong under the circumstances, whatever they may be. Aye? This is developed by the constant practice of Kriya Yoga, the finer faculties of the inner judgment, the discernment is developed. Satat abhyas, by constant practice, Vivek is born. By satat abhyas, Vivek is born. By constant practice, discernment is born. Maybe I close the outer eyes because discernment or Vivek is seen with the inner eye of wisdom.
How do we know when it's Vivek and when it's the ego?
When it's
Vivek and when it's the ego, wishful thinking, this kind of thing. I mean, it's very subtle, so how do you know when you're in the zone of the Vivek?
that will be very subtle. The ego will not be very subtle.